Long story short, my wife struggles with alcoholism. And after a terrible incident, she decided inpatient treatment was the best option for her to get better. I supported the decision and knew it was going to be a difficult road for us in marriage. Upon return, we have 2 little girls, ages 4 and 2 while going. She called multiple times throughout the first few days. Then one night she said she needed space but didn't go into any details. She still wanted to call the kids at bedtime, but no longer wanted to talk with me. I couldn't understand it and I started to obsess on why. A week later she called and said she was being kicked out for passing notes to another man. I was hurt, but now rehab brings up many emotions and felt that it was a mistake that we can work on. She came home and immediately said she wanted a divorce because she's been holding back her feelings for me for years and she's been unhappy for a long time. I didn't want a divorce and convinced her to try with our marriage. I felt like if we were not communicating our unhappiness, nothing was going to change. But now we know the issues and we can work on them. We hired a marriage counselor but did not have a session before she went to the second rehab. A week later again, I felt like we were going to work on us and was committed to trying to make our marriage work. I was wrong. She talked to me daily, but there seemed to always be something that cut our conversation short or she was tired. Basically, she was building feelings for another man. This time, she wasn't caught and made it through the 4 weeks. She came home and immediately asked for space. That meant us alternating weeks at our camper the day she made the reservations. I had a weird gut feeling. Something was not right. So I checked the phone records. It was obvious she was calling and messaging this guy frequently. The calls matched up with trips to the grocery store or AA meetings and other times away from us. I confronted her and she said, yes, she has feelings for this guy and I gave her a choice to stop talking with him or she needed to move out. She chose to stop talking. A few days go by and things start to happen again. I confronted her again and she admitted to continuing talking again. I gave her a choice, quit or leave. She decided to leave this time. I got so angry. I called him and said something to both of them that I was not proud of. But I was mad. The very next weekend I offered for her to have the kids. She declined, saying she was leaving town for the weekend to get away. I knew she was meeting up with him and was going crazy trying to get her to not go. She continued to deny it over and over again. She went away that weekend and I asked her to talk when she came back on Sunday. That whole weekend I was a wreck, didn't sleep, barely ate and was just a mess. She came to the house that Sunday and I put all my chips on the table, told her about phone records and why this was unfair to me and our kids. It seemed like we talked for an hour and she finally said, okay, she would try again. But first she needed to be honest and told me the truth. He was there and I asked about sex and she said, yes, I don't know how to feel. She said she would break the relationship off and she did. As far as I know at the time, she didn't know. And now she has an apartment that she is moving to on the 22nd. I drew the line in the sand saying if she moved out, I will file for an at-fault divorce. And she said, okay, she's going to move and I still feel like I want to not be divorced, but I know she is going to have an affair. I can't just be cool with that. Sorry for the rant. And I've probably left out details to shorten the story, but that's it in a nutshell. Well, I was going to be hard on this guy from the start, but you know what? This man was trying to save his marriage. That's the only positive thing I am going to say. Now, after she failed the reconciliation test, let her go. If a woman asks for space in a relationship, end it. As a matter of fact, make it easy for her. I know a lot of people talk about marriage counseling, but just because an outside third party is qualified to be a marriage counselor doesn't mean they're going to help your relationship as far as I'm concerned. They might be delaying the inevitable, which is divorce, in my opinion, is the best option in this case. Never let someone string you along. Just saying, last summer, my wife of 20 years disclosed that she had definitely had a vibe and flirted with him to see how far it would go with a friend of ours. I knew at the time he had flirted with her, but she always said he was being dumb and drunk and that she had no interest but could handle it. I didn't know that she was actively flirting with him. She also told me for the first time last summer that he had told her he loved her throughout our marriage. She has had a number of similar encounters. Only physical once when she made out with a random guy on a business trip. She had acted weird upon her return. And I though jokingly asked her if she hooked up with somebody, she said actually was at a club dancing with a guy. He gave her a friendly kiss. She then gave him a friendly kiss. What the fuck? Then he initiated a makeout session. She said she stopped it and it only lasted like 30 seconds subsequently. She did things like picking up a guy at a bar and going home with him and refusing to come home to me and our kid for several hours after I texted her when she didn't come home after the bar closed. That led to a big fight, but she convinced me nothing happened and that she was just trying to make sure her lady friend who was apparently into the guy's roommate was safe shortly after learning about the old emotional affair. My description: she doesn't see it this way. Last summer, a friend of mine came to visit and she was way out of line with him, hanging out with him in her underwear while I wasn't around, openly flirting, etc. I told her I wasn't cool with it and that it sucked. She told me that my friend had told her basically the same, that he wasn't into whatever she was trying to make happen afterwards. She explicitly refused to take any responsibility or have any empathy to the fact that I was bothered by it. Honestly, for me, if things were good between us, otherwise I could have worked through these things. Probably when we talked about it, she explained that she doesn't know why she does this. She's not attracted to these guys but really wants them to want to have sex with her. Yes, she has trauma in her past. She said she would never cheat on me. But in the aftermath of all this, I asked for some sort of affirmation of her feelings and was met with her saying she didn't know if she wanted to be with me and that my vulnerability was a turn-off. I was heartbroken and told her so. But she trivialized my feelings, blame shifted and said that she never felt an emotional connection to me again. Married 20+ years with 2 kids. I told her something had to change and I couldn't go on. We went to couples therapy again and she wasn't invested on the drive to our second appointment. She asked if I had done the homework reading, which I had, and then some, and asked if I could give her the Cliff Notes before we got to the therapist. I internalized and self-sabotaged, feeling worthless. Finally, one day in marriage counseling, she put me on the spot about where I was and I told her, I thought we should split up. She flipped and talked about how she might have to get a job and lose our big house. She explained after that she really loved the house and would be so sad to move out. It's been 6 months since I moved out and filed. I'm still totally in love with her. I know I made plenty of mistakes as well, but never like this. She told me that she always assumed I never cared if she acted like this. I pointed out the many talks and counseling sessions we had about it. She said she had no recollection and said that she blocked him out because she didn't like to think about it. So now she's asked to pause divorce proceedings to attempt reconciliation. I wish it were possible, but I'm so much happier and healthier on my own these last months. And it's clear to me she's only worried about losing the lifestyle or having to get a job. Wow. In my opinion, he totally dropped the ball on this one. Why do men like this? Stick around for punishment? When it's clear he needs to end that relationship when a woman displays that type of behavior. Why stick around? Life is too short. The only good thing out of the marriage is the kids. But I am a little perplexed how a woman can claim she loves a man, stick with him for 20+ years and have kids with him. Wait, let me guess, it's the house, right? Why would any man want to reconcile with a woman like that? And again, marriage counseling isn't your saving grace, just saying?